In 1783, this treaty was established, and I've highlighted the most important phrase. It's in the beginning. Prince George III, King George III, by the grace of God, King of Britain, France, and Ireland, defender of the faith, Dukes of Brunswick and Lunenburg, here's the important part, Arch-Treasurer and Prince-Elector of the Holy Roman Empire and of the United States of America. Small t. That's a different entity. Okay? So you have the Arch-Treasurer, which means the top treasury, the issuer of the money from the City of London of an office called the Office of the Exchequer, right next to something called the Four Inns of Court, which is where the bar associations issue from. BAR stands for British Accredited Registry. Registry, the root is Regis, which means it belongs to the crown or the king, but specifically the crown. So when you register your property or your child or your home or your car, you are putting it in the registry, which means the property belongs to the king. That includes your body, which is initially registered by the record of vital statistics that we call a birth certificate. That birth certificate creates the franchise that puts you into the United States of America in Washington, D.C., and therefore you are owned as chattel property, which means you're movable and you're controlled and controllable. We'll get to that in a minute. So Arch-Treasurer of the Holy Roman Empire, which was established formally in the year 962 between the Pope and Otto the Great, who was from the Carolinian or the Charlemagnean bloodline. Okay, and they made an agreement to meet at the end of time. The Prince-Elector would be the king or the crown, and the king controls all the land. And the Pope or the Vatican or the Holy See controls all the law. The law is what binds us as monetary bonded surety, which means we're the guarantor, we're the collateral to all the monetized debt. So there are two lines in history, the line of the king and the line of the priest. I put this quote up here. It's a Supreme Court where it says U.S. or S.CT. That means it's a Supreme Court decision. It essentially means it is the highest court statement of reality. It says the U.S. citizens of the District of Columbia residing in one of the states of the Union are classified as property and franchises of the federal government as a, quote, individual entity. Now, you might say to yourself, but I'm not a citizen of the District of Columbia, and that's where you're wrong, okay? You may say to yourself, I'm a living being standing on the ground, on the land, and therefore I'm not a property and I'm not a franchise, and I may consider myself an individual, but you don't understand the definition of the word individual. Individual is an artificial construct in the legal system in which we exist. I'm going to talk about the United States, but you have to understand the United States is a corporation through which every other nation on the planet is constructed as a corporation channeled through Washington, D.C., which is the District of Columbia. So when we talk about franchises and property and artificial corporate constructs in the United States, we're talking about it worldwide. There's only 2 or 3 nations that are not corporations or not overlaid by a corporate structure that is not organic in its nature.